So today's video will be one of those garden with me videos, and I'm going to start some seeds. Believe it or not, I'm going to take more cuttings, but first let's go down to the basement and see what's happening there. This is the situation in the basement. It's not too bad, it could be worse. But what I did is I moved all of the cuttings down here, the Tradescantias and the Coleus that we took about 2 months ago. But what started happening is that these plants are growing, and I am going to take more cuttings first to make the plants bushier and to make more plants from cuttings. Tradescantia right here is actually looking pretty good. I'm going to wait a couple more weeks before I take cuttings from it, but you see how beautiful the color has gotten since I put it under the lights. So I'm going to leave this one alone, actually. Let me move some stuff around here. This on the bottom. But this one definitely gotten more leggy. Tradescantias tend to get more leggy over the winter. So I'm just going to cut it right here. I actually see a lateral bud right there forming where a new growth is going to happen. And the plant is going to get a lot bushier. I'm just going to put these cuttings aside real quick, just like this. Don't be afraid to give it a real good haircut. And I know some people feel horrible about discarding their cuttings. Don't feel horrible. If you don't have anybody to give it to, you can just throw them away. You still have the mother plant left. But I actually am going to root these again because I need more for my shade containers in the summer. I went and got some water for these cuttings, and I'm just going to wait until they root. I'm going to plant them up and repeat the process. Another thing I'm going to deal with today is this Dichondra Silver Falls that I saved from the second floor window box, and it is a beast. It is actually starting to grow even more, which I do not want. I do not want this giant plant for the spring. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to prune it right here. And you can overwinter Dichondra just like this. You just need enough light for it to grow. It is actually starting to form new shoots right here. But what I'm going to do is collect some seeds from it. So Dichondra actually blooms and forms seeds on the bottom part when it's about 3 to 4 feet long. The flowers and the seed capsules are very inconspicuous. You can barely see them. But when you are ripping out your Dichondra from your window boxes or your containers at the end of the season, try shaking it over a light surface like a piece of paper. Most likely you will have some seeds fall out of it. Now, I know I lost some seeds out of this plant while I was pulling it out, but I have seen some capsules here. So what I'm going to do is just cut it right here, leave the mother plant. It will recover and will continue to grow, but then I'm going to start some seeds, hopefully that I will find some seeds today. I wanted to give you another update on the geranium / pelargonium that we took cuttings off a couple of months ago from the window box. So I never taken cuttings of geranium. Never been a fan of geraniums until this year. But anyway, I took cuttings and I put them in the soil and they rooted. There were some roots coming out of from the bottom. So it worked. I'm super excited. They are not mature enough to be separated and be put in their separate pots, but I will do that in a couple of weeks. I also saved the mother plant because it was such a beautiful trailing geranium. You can see it's starting to grow right there, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it upstairs and clean it up a little bit because it looks a bit like a mess. Let's start with the Dichondra first. There you go. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to cut it about here. Just like this. And I will put this pot back in the basement under lights. Now let's examine this. Okay. Let's see. There's one seed already fell down. See that right there? So if you shake it, there's another one right there. So if you shake it, there you go. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. So what you're looking for is a capsule like this. It's a little gray-brown. This is also a capsule with seeds, but this is not ready. It's still green. But this one will have seeds. There you go. 1, 2. Usually has 2 seeds. So I already got 1, 2, 3, 7 seeds that I can see. Just wanted to show you a little bit closer what you're looking for when next year you're trashing your dichondras from your window boxes and containers. So this is the flower. You probably never paid attention to it, but yes, dichondra flowers, tiny flowers, right, like these. And then the capsules are all over the place here. There's capsules here, there are capsules here. If you just pay a little bit of a close attention, you can see all the capsules and collect the seeds. I collected about 40 seeds now, and I will keep going after this plant, and I could see more seeds falling out as we speak. So I will collect even more. Now, you could totally buy dichondra seeds online. They tend to be on a pricier side, and also you only get 10 seeds per pack. And it's totally worth it looking at your dichondra at the end of the season when you are emptying your window boxes and containers to see if you can get some seeds. So the next step is to start the seeds. So I will put them aside. And I got these seed starting kits from one of our local nurseries that is unfortunately going out of business. So everything was half off, and I stocked up on seed starting, the seed starting mixes, lots of potting mix, and everything I needed for the season. But basically this is just your $5 seed starting kit. You don't need to get fancy unless you want to. And the next step is to pre-moisten the seed starting mix. Super important. So, ooh, this is really dry. I like to pre-moisten it right in the bag. You can use like a plastic tub to do that. It's like dust in here. All right, this looks pretty good. So while I'm filling these cells, why in the world am I starting dichondra right now? So there are certain plants that just take longer time to mature. Dichondra needs about 3 to 4 months before it's starting to look like anything. So January is right around the corner. 4 months, that would be April. And if I want to use it in my window boxes, that would be perfect timing. Most of other seeds I start in beginning of March, like all other normal people. There are some exceptions, like pepper, for example, that I would start in February. But yes, normally I start my seeds in March because it is very important to remember that once you start your seeds, you are 100% responsible for these babies. Starting seeds themselves is a very easy process. Taking care of them for months or weeks is a very difficult process because you're 100% responsible for them, responsible for watering, for their light. They get attacked by insects. And that's why I disinfect everything before I start seeds. I use bleach solution down in the basement in all of my seed starting stations. And I think the ideal situation if your seed starting setup is as sterile as an operating room. I had so many bad experiences when aphids took over or fungus gnats took over, and I will talk about kind of like the first aid kit after I'm done with these dichondra seeds. But unless the plant requires that you start it early, do not start your seeds earlier than you need. Let's sow the seeds themselves. And dichondra needs to be sown on the surface. I just press down the seeds, and that's it. Actually going to place them on a heat mat And let me mist them before I close it. They need heat and light to germinate. Once I see some life in these cells, I will lift this up this close to the lights. You can see like a couple of inches. I will use some books, something to prop it up because they need really bright light. I just wanted to talk about the insect management. As I mentioned, all of your seed starting stations should be really clean and free of insects. And if you're starting to get any sort of issues on either the stuff that you're overwintering, unfortunately with seedlings, if you start getting any issues with that, I would just discard them and start afresh. But with overwintering cuttings like this, what I usually do is I use insecticidal soap. I would spray the plant both on top and get underneath the leaves as well to make sure it doesn't spread. Another issue that people have trouble with winter gardening are fungus gnats. So my go-to are these mosquito bits. It's an organic product. I would add some to the surface of the soil, but another method works just as well, is to let your plants dry out. And before I water any of my cuttings, I usually poke around with my finger and to see just how dry the surface of the soil is. It needs to be dry at about 1 inch because that's where fungus gnats lay their larvae, and if it dries out, they will just perish by themselves. Now, if you do already have fungus gnats, again, you can try the mosquito bits and also the stickies for the adults. The stickies will capture all of the adults flying around. They are super helpful. Well, this is it for today's video. It felt really good getting my hands in the soil and starting some seeds on this cold and blustery New Jersey day. And I hope you guys are getting to do some gardening, whether it is houseplants or maybe amaryllis are blooming, or maybe you are starting some seeds as well. I know it feels so good. But anyway, I hope you learned something new in this video and enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.